Medicine is meant to heal, but for most of human history, it was guesswork mixed with superstition, and often, horror. These aren't just outdated techniques, they're terrifying reminders of how far we've come and how much people once suffered in the name of treatment. Today, we're counting down 10 disturbing medical practices from history that you won't believe were real. 1. Trepanation, drilling holes in the skull. In ancient times, people believed that mental illness or bad spirits could be cured by boring a hole into the skull. This practice, called trepanation, was done without anesthesia. Amazingly, some patients survived, but others? They died in agony, their brains exposed to infection and trauma. Shockingly, a few fringe communities still try this today. 2. Bloodletting. For centuries, doctors believed illness came from bad blood, so they drained it using knives, leeches, or special cups. Bloodletting was used for everything from headaches to the plague. George Washington was bled heavily while sick, and many historians believe it contributed to his death. The treatment often did more harm than good, but it was the gold standard for 2,000 years. 3. The Mercury Cure. Before antibiotics, mercury was used to treat diseases like syphilis. Doctors would rub mercury ointments into patients' skin, or worse, inject or ingest it. The result? Hair loss, tremors, insanity, and death. People didn't just die from the disease, they died from the so-called cure. Mercury is now recognized as one of the most toxic substances on Earth. 4. Heroin as a cough suppressant. In the late 1800s, Bayer, the same company that makes aspirin, marketed heroin as a non-addictive alternative to morphine. It was sold over the counter to treat everything from coughs to insomnia. But heroin was more addictive than morphine, and patients quickly became dependent. By the time doctors realized the damage, the addiction crisis had already begun. 5. Lobotomies. In the early 20th century, lobotomies were seen as a miracle treatment for mental illness. Surgeons would insert a metal pick into the eye socket and scramble the brain's frontal lobe. Patients often lost basic functions, personality, emotion, even speech. Thousands were lobotomized in the US alone, including children and women with nervous disorders. It wasn't science, it was butchery. 6. Electroconvulsive Therapy, unrefined. Today, ECT can be a controlled treatment for severe depression, but in the early days it was violent and terrifying. Patients were strapped down and shocked without anesthesia. They convulsed so hard bones would break. Many lost memory or consciousness for days. It was punishment disguised as therapy, used not to heal, but to silence. 7. Arsenic Treatments. Yes, arsenic. The deadly poison was once a common medical ingredient. It was used to treat everything from ulcers to syphilis, with doctors claiming it stimulated the blood. In truth, it poisoned the liver, destroyed red blood cells, and caused slow, painful deaths. Yet it remained in use well into the 20th century. 8. Animal dung as medicine. Ancient Egyptians and Greeks used crocodile, pig, and goose dung as treatments. It was applied to wounds, inserted vaginally as contraception, or consumed in tinctures. Not only was this disgusting, it was dangerous. Bacterial infections, sepsis, and poisoning were common side effects, yet these practices were accepted as mainstream science at the time. 9. Radiated water. After the discovery of radioactivity, people believed it had healing properties. So, companies started bottling radioactive water and selling it as health drinks. One wealthy industrialist drank so much, he had to have his jaw removed due to radiation poisoning. The craze only ended after too many consumers died glowing from the inside out. 10. The wandering womb theory. For centuries, doctors believed that women's wombs could wander around their bodies, causing hysteria, fainting, or madness. Treatments included tying herbs around the waist or using strong-smelling substances to lure the womb back into place. It sounds absurd now, but this myth was widely believed and led to centuries of abusive, sexist treatments targeting women's health. These weren't just weird moments in medical history, they were real procedures that caused real pain. Victims were told they were being healed, when in reality they were being harmed by the very people meant to help them. Which one disturbed you the most? Let me know in the comments. And if you want more stories from the forgotten shadows of history, like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching and stay curious.